Well, good afternoon, everyone. As you don't know my name, it's like Charlene Uyehara. I'm here to share my testimony with you this afternoon. So if I get emotional, just bear with me. So where do I start? So I would say back maybe like around 2012, right around when Pastor came to our church, maybe like a few months after that, I was in between jobs and I got laid off. And so, I was kind of like collecting unemployment at the time, and I was living on my own. I had my apartment with my dog and everything. And after a few months after that, a couple months, I got into some financial difficulty where I couldn't pay my rent or anything. So I came to Pastor Jonathan for help, and I talked to him, and the church family was really helpful during my during this time in my life. And I was so ashamed. Like, I thought, oh my gosh, this has never happened to me, and it's like, why me, and I was embarrassed, I was angry, and I was just so like mad at God. I was like, how could you do this to me? Why me? And I was going through this, and Pastor told me, well, let me see what I can do. I'm gonna find a place for you to stay. And I'm like, oh, I can't go to a shelter. I'm thinking to myself, I can't do this. And he told me about the Star of Hope. And so some of the church members helped me pack everything, and I had to give my dog to my friend to take care. And as I was going there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is over. I have nothing. All I have is just me. That's it. Nobody else. And I tried to reach out to my sister, but she's so prideful. She made me feel like, well, it's your fault this happened. You shouldn't let this happen. This happens to nobody. How can you do this? And she just belittled me. And I felt like, wow, I can't even reach out to my older sister. She's just like making me feel like I'm a loser. So, I didn't talk to her. I just let it go. And as I was staying there, all I did every single day for 2 weeks was sit in the corner and just cry and cry and cry. Didn't talk to anybody. Some of the ladies that stayed there, they tried to talk to me, and I wouldn't talk to them. It's just, I just stayed, just my own business, did my thing. And as I was staying there, it's like, I felt so like alone, like I had nobody. And I felt like I was in a prison. The way they treated everything is so structured. I mean, like, you get up at 5:30 in the morning, and the sleeping arrangements, of course, you get these mats and you sleep on the floor, and that's it. And they yelling, wake up, ladies, it's 5:30 or whatever, and they're just like, okay. And that whole time you're there, you can't be there after 8 o'clock. You have to be outside. You can't be anywhere inside. So every day I would pound the pavement, go find it, go look for a job, go to interviews every day. I would do something, go to the library, go on the computer, start looking for jobs. And they make you take this spiritual development class. So at that time, it really got me in touch back with the Lord. I mean, he made me see, like, he tested my faith. That's what it was. He really tested my faith, like, because I was so angry with him. I know that he put me through this for a reason, and I see that now, because at the time when I was going through it, I was just so angry. I didn't care. I'm just like, how could you do this to me? And it was just so, like I said, embarrassing. I felt ashamed. I mean, like, because in the Japanese culture, it's like a lot of pride. And you don't talk about a lot of things. You don't show emotion, because that becomes shame. Everything is embarrassment is shameful. You just gotta suck it up and just live with it. And I never had that with my family. I mean, like, they showed no emotion. Everything was just like, you have to be this, that, and the other. A, B, C, it's just black and white, nothing else in between. And so as I was going through this season in my life, I really made me stronger as a person. I mean, like, I've seen, like, the women that stayed there, they had like alcohol problems, drug problems, everything. And every day I would carry all my belongings with me because I didn't want nobody to take them. steal them or whatever. And it's like I befriended this lady there, and she was a real estate agent, and she lost her home. And I thought to myself, man, it takes all types of people, walks of life, to go through this season. It's just not me. It's just not her. I mean, it's professional people were there, staying there. And it was so like a really eye-opener for me. Because I'm just thinking, well, people who are homeless are just like people with no jobs, they have drugs, alcohol, all this stuff. That's all I thought was homeless people. But I really staying there has taught me a lot about homelessness, about myself. I mean, now, as I was staying there maybe about 3 months after that, I got out of there. I stayed with some friends, and I started looking for a job. I found a job part-time. I started working retail and stayed there for maybe about 3.5 years, close to 4. And so right now, in 2016, I found a full-time job at a law firm for Price PLC. And I've been there for about 3 years now, and everything is just great. I mean, God really has, like I said, tested my faith. I prayed, I got in my word every day, and I just thank God that He was there with me, because I really turned my back on Him. And He was like, no, you're gonna go do this, I'm gonna make you see, I'm gonna test your faith. And He really did test my faith. And I can really say that I have come a long way. I mean, I really have, as a person, as a believer, I mean, it was really hard. I felt like I was in prison. And it's just, why me? Every day it was, why me? Why me? Why am I going through this? But I understand now. I understand why I went through everything I did. But back then, like I said, I was just so angry. I didn't care, and how could this happen to me? It's not supposed to happen to me. That was my attitude, so like I said, I've come a long way, and I'm just thank God that He has really stuck with me. He never turned His back on me the way I did on Him. It was very, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. How's that? But it's a learning experience being there and staying there for 3 months. Because everything, like I said, is so structured. You get up at 5:30, you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, that's it. And you only have a certain amount of time to do what you need to do and get out. It was, something that I will always remember and take with me. And like I said, don't ever take anything for granted. Just always be thankful and grateful, because you just never know when something like this could happen to you, Don't ever think that, this can't happen to me, because it can, You just don't know. You could have a great job, everything be great, but you don't know when that time will come when you have nothing. Like nothing. The only thing you're gonna have is your faith. And that's it. And that's what happened to me. It was a real, like I said, it was a test. A big test for me. Oh, you better take it off. Okay.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Just made it nice.
Can I pray for you real quick?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Let's pray for Charlene. Lord, we lift up Charlene to you. We just pray for your blessing in her life. We're thankful for the story of your faithfulness and for you walking with her even in those dark times. God, I'm hearing the echoes of the passage that we shared from Jeremiah, where there's just sometimes there's a dark time in our life that you just put us there, and there's not much we can do about it other than wait for your timing. And so, God, we're just thankful for the work that you've done in her life and her testimony. Again, we just pray for blessing and for healing for her. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Can I ask a question?
He has a question?
Yes.
Sure.
So that whole situation,
Mm-hmm.
what would have helped you, like as a church, what would have been helpful for you? Like what are some of the things that
think just try to, I mean, I had a lot of support, like emotionally, you know, but I just wish that I had someone that I could actually talk to, like to reach out to and be there for me. And I just felt really alone. I think part of it probably was my fault too because of my pride. My attitude was, oh, I can't talk to them. They're going to think this, that, and the other about me. You know, I'm thinking that they're going to judge me, but at the end of the day, I was judging myself. You know, so that's what made me get into that situation too, because I had this attitude of like, well, I can't talk to X, Y, A, B, you know, this, that, and the other because they're going to think this of me. But
So I guess what I'm hearing is that it's not somebody giving you $1 million,
right.
right? So that's
Yeah.
not what you're.
It's not what it was about, you know, it was just that emotional support.
And if somebody else is going through that similar situation now, what advice would you give them?
I would just say, you know, just have your faith. You have to have faith. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. At the end of the day, you're not going to have nothing. If you can't depend on the Lord, who can you depend on? And that's what I learned. It was a big lesson learned. That's for sure. Welcome.
I want us to spend some time in prayer. I think we probably have a small enough group today that we could actually do this as a group. And so maybe we can all just bow our heads, and if you just have maybe a sentence or two prayer. We've talked about a lot of issues, right? We've talked about poverty and homelessness. We've heard Charlene's story. We've heard stories from Jonathan about different people that we've helped or tried to help but didn't actually help, or you know, there's just a lot of different angles of this. So if you feel like God is laying something on your heart, just go ahead and voice it. And after a few minutes, I'll close us in prayer. So Lord, we just open this time to you to hear from us about how we see this issue, Lord.